Very good. All right. So we are recording, and it is our team call for tonight for the Go team. I'd like to welcome you all, and tonight's hosts are going to be Tony Harden, Autumn Calabrese, and Sean T. are all on the call tonight, just so you know. We figured, since we are such a special team, that we would get all three. And sorry, I'm totally not. It's not going to be. It's actually going to be Jason Schubring, Stacey Reed, and Danny V instead of Sean T. I was trying to get like Jason's head on Tony's body and Stacey's head on, but it just didn't work in time. But anyway, so there's my joke. Haha. But very good. Yeah. Anyway, so particularly want to welcome our new coaches on board. We're continuing to grow, which is very exciting to see, everybody. And we are, which is great. And we're getting new folks joining every week. And the fun part about that is this is the time, man. This is the time people have paid off their debt from Christmas. Christmas is done. And now everybody's looking to get fit for spring and for summer. And so this is the time to be in coaching. So welcome, new coaches. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the time out of your schedule to do this. Now, we're going to do this a lot, especially for a while, because I really want to make sure everybody is registering with this. I want to make sure. I haven't checked my view here. Let me get rid of that. Bam. This is the Team Beachbody vision. We're here to help people achieve their goals and enjoy a healthy, fulfilling life. That has been the goal. That will be the goal. That doesn't change. Even our specific team's expression of how they coach, how we coach, is related directly to that. And let's just go there real fast. I like to do this a little bit each call. I'm going to highlight a different section this time. So we're equipping busy coaches. This is the goal. This is the Go team's kind of philosophy about what we're trying to accomplish, is that we are equipping busy coaches with the essentials to build thriving businesses that help people achieve their goals and live healthy and fulfilling lives. That last part, again, is the basic mission statement of Beachbody. Now, what we are about particularly here, and we talked about essentials before, and I want to talk about thriving businesses here just for 2 seconds. I believe that when people are seeing motion, Jason and I have talked a little bit about this, but that when action is happening, when we're seeing, and I talk about this sometimes about with my coaches about the idea of a catalytic leader. When there's energy and there's kind of like a catalyst, something that actually causes an explosion, there's something that happened, there's a spark, that businesses then thrive. And we're going to talk a little bit today about how to not only start, but then keep that fire going, as we talk about a little bit with our call. So thriving businesses when we're going to talk about this, are going to be consistent. And we'll see that in just a second. All right. If I meant to have theme music for this, but again, I just got so crazy busy. So we just have to imagine it. Chat, shout out. I got a chat, shout out. Got a chat, shout out. It's a chat, shout out. Pow. There we go. And I just did jazz hands. If you would see them, they were pretty amazing. And I even did the shimmer on there at the end, which was pretty epic. So in the chat, please, if you are on a computer or device, be able to do this, please shout out for me, because this is one of the 3 vital behaviors. Chat, shout out. What's your favorite shake recipe? In the group chat, please. Chocolate with coffee, says Mr. Schubring. What else we got? With Choco for Jason. Very good. What Jason said, says Lindsay. Chocolate with PB2. Almond milk, half banana. What flavor, Miss Stacey Reed? Vegan chocolate. Vegan. Okay, very good. We've got, yes, lots of stuff. Vanilla mixed berries and almond milk. Mm-hmm. A little Costco action there, maybe, Miss Stephanie. Greenberry tuna. Yes, everyone's favorite. Greenberry tuna. For your extra protein. Everyone's lovely. Nice, Jason. Good work. So that is our chat shout out. Shakeology, y'all. I don't know if you've listened to Shay Stanford's team call, National Wake Up Call last Monday, not this past, no, not today, last Monday. Critical stuff, how to create retention, teach your people about Shakeology, learn a bit about Shakeology. You'll have long-term customers that won't just buy once, they'll actually continue. And if we educate them well, they will hang on. Very good. All right, moving on. This week, refining your schedule. How to make good use of your schedule in order to be an effective coach. Now, we're going to hear from three of us on this particularly. I'm going to start out big picture, and then Jason and Stacey are going to go more micro, or just dial in some specific and practical. So let me start here. Dan's one tip. All I got is one tip. I'm a pretty simple guy, so I'm going to keep it to one tip tonight. And the idea is this. One tip. Consistency is key. Consistency is key. Now, most of us, if we are coaches, we have done a Beachbody program. And it's 21 Day Fix, P90X, whatever you're doing. We realize that if you decided to do the 21 Day Fix, and it's like, day 3, not really feeling like it. I was tired today. I really didn't want to get up. Those videos, I felt a little tired today. I don't really like the whatever video schedule for that day. I'm just not going to do it. And then, and then you do a couple days, you're back on, and then it's like, you know what, I'm not really going to worry about the food today. I don't think so. At the end, and you do that each week a little bit like that, we all realize that our results are going to suffer at the end. When you get done with 21 days and you treat it like that with not consistent behavior, okay, you will not have a great transformation from the 21 Day Fix. Same thing with P90X, same with any of our programs. Consistency is going to be key. You will not have progress without consistency. Now, you don't have to be perfect necessarily, but you do need to try to be consistent, okay? And so the same thing very much applies to coaching. And I've got a quote from the boss, and if it doesn't get any better than that, you got to listen to the boss, right? If you don't listen to me, listen to the boss, Bruce Springsteen. So he's going to talk about this. Getting an audience is hard. Sustaining an audience is hard. It demands a consistency of thought, purpose, and action over a long period of time. The same thing applies to our coaching businesses, guys. Now, he's not talking about like an audience in a concert. He's talking about an overall audience like across the nation kind of a thing. So getting an audience is hard, and sustaining that audience is hard. It's that consistency of thought and purpose and action over a long period of time. So if you ever signed up, and I hope this isn't the case with any of us on this call, because if you somehow were sold a bill of goods when you signed up as a coach that, hey man, you're going to be rich next month. Woo, awesome. It's probably not going to happen. So I want to tell you, it's going to take some time and consistency over time for you to build a thriving business that's going to allow to give you the freedom and maybe some of the goals you're trying to reach. So my biggest tip to everybody as you're doing coaching and as you're trying to get your schedule set is the consistency that you can have within that schedule is going to make or break your business, okay? I would rather you spend a half hour over 6 days a week and try to, do 6 days a week of a half hour, then one day and cram 3 hours into it, because that is more consistent. You'll have more consistent posts on social media. You'll have more consistency with follow-up with coaches, with your customers, all of that stuff. And so consistency is going to be key. All right, moving right along. Mr. Jason, you can unmute yourself, sir, if you would.
I am unmuted, sir.
Awesome. Welcome to the call, my friend, Mr. Jason Schubring, everyone. I hear the clapping, but everybody's on mute. So
that's all right.
Imagine the clapping.
I can feel it.
I can feel the love. There you go. Take it away, sir.
So basically, like Dan was talking about, consistency is one thing, right? But the easiest way to respond to that is, well, you know what, Dan, that's all great, but I'm really busy. I just don't have time. Right? So that's what I'm going to cover a little bit, is how you find that time and where the time comes from. But first, a little bit about me. As you'd imagine, that's me in the middle there with my family. Those aren't people that I just met off the street. That's my wife, Nicole, Emmett, and Grant. They're 4 and 8 years old, and they're a total blast. But they're a big part of the reason that I do what I do, and they're also a big part of the reason that I had to find time to do this. But, being a busy dad with the 2 kids, they're in karate. They've got stuff going on several nights. I mean, the karate thing is like 2 or 3 times a week. Cub Scouts has to happen weekly, plus all the activities and stuff that goes with that. I do consulting as well with web development things on the side, on top of a 40-hour-a-week job, if not more. There's business travel. There's all of the coaching stuff that goes with that, the personal development, the meal prep, the workouts. So, you know what? There's not a whole lot of time to spare, right? So where did I find it? That'll be the next slide, Dan. I'll show everybody where I found the time. In the couch cushions, right? Just like Cheetos and spare change. Yeah. Anybody ever find spare time in the couch cushions? Not so much, right? So the challenge is, where do you find the time? I looked around, and for a while I would get really, really frustrated because I would see all these new coaches coming on, and even top coaches, and I would just kind of write it off. Like, yeah, you know what? You're a top full-time coach. You're making however much per month, so this is your full-time gig. So it's easy for you to find time. What I had to realize is that we all get the same 24 hours. And once I understood that, on top of realizing that people even busier than me still found a way to get it done and make it happen, that really sunk in for me. And it's not about finding the time. We're never going to find the time. And that's why it goes back to what we'll actually talk about a little bit more in the call. It's the reason why you're doing it. Why are you coaching? Why are you here? Why am I here? Why am I doing this? If that's important enough, it'll become a priority in your life. So if you want to hit the next slide, Dan, that's kind of what we dive into here for a minute. And this is where you figure out how to make the time, right? How does it become a priority in your life and a priority in your day so that you can do it consistently? Because I had a very long stretch where I would be consistently inconsistent. I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but you'd start off hard charge at the top of the month and you make it 3 or 4 days, and all of a sudden, you know what? I've just got a lot of stuff to do today. And before you know it, it's been 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 days since you've invited effectively or updated your blog or whatever those key things are for you as part of that invite process, right? So for me, I had to decide how much time I could really set aside. Is it a half hour? Is it an hour? Sometimes maybe is it just 15 minutes? And by doing that and scheduling that for myself, it relieved a lot of the guilt and the beating up of myself, where when I was with family and doing the Cub Scouts and the karate, and when I was at work, I felt guilty that I wasn't focusing on my business. By setting aside that time and saying, you know what, I know that I can do this much time. I'll get up early. I'll do this amount of work in the morning, like clockwork. I'll be consistent about it, even if it's only an hour, even if it's only a half an hour. That consistency makes a world of difference. So that, plus being honest about it, as far as how much time I would actually have, it'd be really great if I could have just stepped out and said, every morning I'm going to work for 3 hours before I go to work. That's just not practical with the amount of sleep that I want to get and the things that I need to do in my life above and beyond coaching. It wasn't something that was maintainable that I could do consistently over time. So that'll be one thing that I've learned that has helped me a lot, is just be practical and honest about the amount of time you can really set aside and make sure that you do it. But of course, the next bullet, schedule that time, just like a doctor, dentist appointment, just like an appointment with your boss, right? You're really the CEO of your own business. So am I. Why would you treat yourself with any less respect than you do your boss? When you book a time with yourself and you say, I'm committed to doing this for a half hour or a power hour over lunch break. Maybe I'll sit out in my car and quick send some emails, follow up with people over lunch. When I commit to that, and that's a time on my calendar that I've committed to, why wouldn't I respect that just as much as I would for anybody else? So schedule that time, respect it, treat it like an appointment and stick to it. It really helps with the consistency. This next one is, it sounds like a riddle, right? When you're there, you're there. What does that mean? All I'm saying there is, if you're with your family, if I'm with mine, if we're spending time doing the family thing, being a great mom, being a great dad, being a great spouse, being a great significant other to the people in our lives, be there. Don't be on the iPhone being an eye hole, as I like to call it. Engage and be with your family and show them the same respect that you show your business. Set those barriers, set those barricades, and really just say, when I'm working, it's my power hour. That's what I do. And I do it guilt-free, knowing that it's going to earn something more for me and my family later on. But when you're with your family, put the phone aside, check out, and it's going to make a world of difference on the burnout thing too. Because if you're with your family and you're always kind of doing the coach thing on the iPhone on the side, it drains you. It really does. And it just takes away from the overall momentum and the mojo.
Yeah. And I think, Jay, that's a good point, because the more we are kind of divided and we divide ourselves, that kind of half-life multitask thing really is, it's surprising how that can really wear you down over time. And then also it just kind of kills and steals a lot of the joy of either side of this. Because sometimes, coaching, especially when you're helping someone and they're very excited about it, then they're able to, that joy is awesome. But then if you feel like you're stealing from, your family, it's like, and you haven't really kind of had I call it the talk with about when you can actually work your business and when you're not supposed to. Anyway, so I think that's a really great point.
Well, and just respecting that time for what it is, right? If you say, this is my hour for business stuff, or my 30 minutes, or whatever it is for you on that day, if you are also trying to juggle other things, like I would be if I didn't get up a little bit earlier or find other times to fit it in, you're not 100% present. So you're really not giving it the time that you think you are. So it's really, really easy at the end of that to feel like you were very busy and tried to do a lot when really your attention was so scattered that you didn't get done what you needed to, which is the last bullet point. That's be specific about what needs to get done. If you know that Monday is blog day, or Tuesday is video day, or I need to check in with my challenge groups first thing in the morning, that takes 5-10 minutes, right? Be very, very specific about what needs to get done. Otherwise, it's way, way, way too easy to get in that black hole known as Facebook or social media or email inbox and just kind of be like, oh, squirrel, what's this over here? What's this over there?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, 45 minutes of your hour is up in smoke, and you still haven't gotten done what you need to get done in order to be consistent. And again, we're not here to beat ourselves up. So be honest, be specific, schedule that time and respect it, and really just commit to being present in that activity when you're there doing it. So very
good. I think also, there's one thing I talk about, guys, and this is specifically about doing, I call it doing coachy things. Coachy. So it feels like coaching. Maybe you're, I don't know, maybe you're contacting another coach and asking a tip, or I don't know, whatever. But sometimes it's just really not really effective business building, or but so you have to kind of decide. So especially Jason and I have talked about this, but sometimes there's researchers. If you're a researcher and you love to kind of research the products or, whatever, Shakeology, whatever, and you spend a lot of time doing that, and that's enjoyable to you, but maybe reaching out and trying to contact new people isn't so enjoyable, what do you think you're going to tend to run towards? Mm-hmm. Right? You're going to run towards a thing that's more comfortable for you. And then you'll end up doing you'll feel like you're coaching because, well, I'm learning about Shakeology because I've got to explain this to people. But like when you learn like every minutia about Shakeology or every minutia about the essence of a perfect Facebook post, you're going to get in trouble, and because you won't have any challengers for your next challenge because you've not spent time doing the vital behavior of building. Anyway, so
and you're still going to feel like you're working your butt off, right?
yeah, exactly.
You're still going to feel like you were busy. Oh, I spent my hour a day. Well, okay, but I mean, back to some personal development. I think Eric Worre in one of his books talked about income producing activities.
Yes.
And that's really a good gut check. When you're working on something, ask yourself, what are the odds that this is really going to result in either a new relationship, a new contact, a new invite, something like that? That's really the income producing activity. If you're just cruising around and trying to educate yourself, that's great, but don't confuse it with the income producing stuff.
Yeah, very good. All right, and then you got one more point here, it looks like. Or is that kind of...
Yeah, that was it, man. It's just be specific about what needs to get done,
Sure.
which will really lead into what I believe Stacey is talking about next, which is a to-do list and really identifying what needs to happen and prioritizing that.
All right, so I'm going to switch over. Stacey, you can unmute yourself, and I'm going to share a different screen. Let's see. There it is. Are you there, Stacey?
I'm there. I'm here.
Awesome. You are there. Okay, so talk to us.
Okay, so I really appreciate everything that you said, Jason, because I can wholeheartedly agree with the craziness of our life. I'm sorry, I have kids right in the background right now, specifically. So I've been married for 12 years, and I have 4 kids. I have 2 boys, 9 and 6, and then I have 2 girls, 4 and 18 months. So everything that Jason said is pretty much my life. I actually work from home, work with some clients, and I'm also an Emerald Beachbody coach. And then I'm really active in my community. I'm active in my church. So I have a lot going on. And when I started Beachbody coaching, this was something I realized I really needed to hone in on because I have very little time. So something I really appreciate, Dan, is you being able to notice that this is one of my strengths, because I don't think I've realized it until now, that I do have the ability to kind of understand how to organize my life a little bit better. And I just want to share a little bit of that with you guys. And it may be simple, but you've never heard it before, but I'm hoping that it brings you value. So
tell me what you're doing.
Okay, so the first slide, I just want to know how many, so Jason, you even mentioned this. This is Doug, the dog from the movie Up. And how many of you guys ever have felt like this? You like sit down at your computer to do something, you turn on your phone, you get distracted by a Facebook picture or a message, and you find like 30 minutes later, you've wasted all this time. Mm-hmm. And, you know, this is us. Like you sit down and to do something and you're constantly squirrel, like it doesn't work. And so we've all done it. I'm definitely guilty as well. So I had to buckle down when I started this, and we're too busy. Our time is too valuable. So my secret to success as a mother, a wife, a coach, trying to get this done, my secret is pretty simple, and it's lists. So how many of you guys use checklists? I want to know.
Oh, sorry. You want to go to the next slide real quick?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know. Okay, yep, daily, good. So a couple of you have checklists. So I grew up making lists. It's kind of like ingrained inside of me. I literally would sit down after school and I would write a list for my assignments. I'd write down my chores just for the value of checking it off, so I knew I was accomplishing something. It's a really good feeling to have that feeling of accomplishment, knowing that you're moving towards something. And as someone that, uses lists, I really see it as a huge bringing value to my life. And I think it's the same thing as coaching. When we coach, what we do, the steps that we take need to bring value, and they need to make sense and move towards our purpose. So what's really the value of lists? So for me, I visually can see my tasks. I can write down what I need to do, which brings me to the next point, which is time management. If you can see the things that you need to do, you can realize, okay, I'm going to have this much time to do here. I won't be able to do this today, but I can move it to my next day. And so time management kind of is able to, like, you can hone in on it. And then I assess what's essential. So I'll take my list and I'll prioritize. So it's really important. If we have so much to do, I mean, home, family, work, coaching, it's really important to kind of write down what's the most important. And then that brings me to the trade-off, making a trade-off and sacrifice. When I first started doing Beachbody, my trade-off was sleep. I had to make that sacrifice. I had to wake up earlier so I could work out. And that was essential for me to meet my goal. And that was on one of my lists. The other thing that checklists do, they help us stay focused. So if we have a list that we know we're working off of, we have to keep checking them off. It helps us stay focused. And then feeling accomplished. I think this is really important, especially for busy moms out there and busy dads too. But there's something called mommy guilt that we all kind of deal with. I'm sure the women out there can totally agree with me. But when you're a mom and you are trying to also do a business and raise a family and take care of the home, you definitely run into this feeling of, how do I find the balance? And if I'm doing this, I'm still feeling guilty that I'm doing this. And something I found that lists help me is, it helps me see that, like, if I've done my list, I can check it off, then I can move on and not feel guilty. I don't have to feel like, what else do I need to do, and sit on my computer for 2 more hours doing nothing and not accomplishing anything. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Now,
so that,
question.
yeah.
So
yeah.
The point with so you got your list, and a daily, you're going to talk us through this a little bit then? I'm sorry, I didn't look past your slides, but I'm assuming that we've got, you're starting a day with a list, and so tell us about what that's going to look like.
Yeah. So my last thing was be empowered. And that's what brings me to my next slide is, when you have a list, you're empowered because you know that you're feeling accomplished, and you can spend your time wisely, and it helps you feel empowered. So yeah, go to the next slide. So how to make your list. Step 1 is determine what your overall goal is and your why as a coach. And so I'm mainly talking about a list for coaching. I mean, this can apply to every aspect of your life, but in terms of coaching, there's a variety of type of coaches out there. There's coaches that need to get their shakes paid for. There's coaches that want to just get help financially, help their family a little bit. And then there's other coaches out there that want to enjoy more freedom and make this their sole business and really, bring home their husband, for instance. So after you know what your goal is as a coach, then you know what kind of actions you need to take on your to-day list. So yeah, I call it my to-day list, by the way.
Nice.
Instead of my to-do, I do a today because it helps me see what I need to do that day. Your to-do list can be pages and pages long. Everyone knows that. You could write a to-do list that would, fill up a whole notebook. But what can you handle that day is how I handle it. So what's going to bring you closer to your goal? And I heard this quote today in my personal development, and it says, success isn't a mystery. Success isn't a mystery. It's consistency. And I loved that, because as coaches, if we're sticking with the 3 vital behaviors of invite, personal development, and being proof the product works, those are the first things that you can check off your list. That's really important. And no matter what kind of goal you have, those 3 are vital. Then my step 3 in my how to make your list is prioritize, divide, and conquer. And Jason talked a little bit about this as well. It's really important when you look at your list, to figure out how you're going to divide your day, where it's going to fit in, and prioritize what's the most important. And then step 4 is organize your day accordingly. So like I said, depending on your priority and your goal, you can wake up, like for me, it's wake up and I take care of myself first. So then I can handle what's next, which is I do my messages. So I follow up with my messages. I connect with the people in my challenge groups, and then I do my invites, which is my 2 by 2 by 2. And then I can focus on my home and family or whatever's after that. And then you can switch gears later and go to coaching or mentorship based on, where you're at in your coaching business. Step 5 is really important. And it's check your list hourly and manage your distractions. So make sure that you're on task. Think of something that's going to make you, like every time you get a glass of water, think, okay, I need to check my list. Or every time you go to the bathroom, I need to check my list. Every time you look at your Facebook page, you need to check your list. Just think of what your cue is to check that list, and it'll really help you stay on task. Okay, so next slide.
Okay.
Okay, so we live in a day of technology, obviously, and these are just some suggestions on how to make to-do lists. I keep mine on Wunderlist and Colornote. I actually keep my my work assignments on Wunderlist, and then I keep my coaching and my business, personal business, Beachbody business on Colornote. Awesome Note is a great one as well. Shalene Johnson actually uses that one. So these are just some suggestions. Does anyone in the chat have any suggestions, anything that they use for their lists? I know a bunch of you said that you make lists. So yeah, we'd love to hear it, how you do it. I mean, even if it's on a sheet of paper. Evernote? Okay, cool. Paper? Okay.
I'm old school.
Post-its notes? Really? Cool. Oh, gosh. Wunderlist. Okay, cool. Great. Yeah, this is vital. So if you have it with you on your phone, you can always be checking it off daily. And like for me, I love hearing the little ding, ding. Makes you feel like you're moving on. So, okay. So last slides.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's to-do list is going to be different. Everyone's today list is going to be different, just so you know, depending on your goals. And so what I did is I just made these quick slides up based on what your goals are. So if your goal is to get your shakes paid for, you should be doing your workout, drinking your shake, posting about it, commenting or following up with friends, like commenting on people that you want them to be more visible in both ways and on their wall. 2 by 2 by 2, be an active challenger in a challenge group, and then participate in team calls and personal development. And that's just kind of for starters, because the next one is, if your goal is to have financial gain, for the next slide, your list is going to expand. And as you see, as this goes on, and the next slide goes to freedom and opportunity, as you move forward in your coaching business, and you will have more responsibilities and you will have more leadership opportunities. And that's why I feel like it's so important to know how you're going to manage your time, and keeping these to-do lists and make them, something daily, something that you don't even have to think about anymore. It's just part of your routine. So I hope that's good. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Very good. Very good. Let's see. Did you have another? You did. Oh, sorry. There was.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's the cruise. I'm going to be there.
Yeah, girl. Good job. And so guys, let me pop back over here. Oh, stop share that and screen share.
I can just chime in here for a sec, Dan.
Go ahead.
I think that was awesome stuff, Stacey. So thank you for doing that. And I think part of the power of the list too is it allows you to get some kind of an estimate, at least mentally, even if it's not written down, as to how much time you actually need. I've found that it's easy for me to write down 10 or 15 items on a list and beat myself up if I don't get all 15 done. But what I could have done pretty easily with that list is looked at it and said, oh man, look at this list. This is actually going to take me 10 minutes for this, 20 minutes for that, 35 minutes, 45 minutes for that. And I'd be able to keep my sanity by realizing that that power hour per day isn't going to be enough to rip through that whole list. So, and maybe I'm the only one who struggles a little bit with beating myself up if I don't get all the way through the list and feel like, oh man, I didn't get everything done again today, right? And you can kind of get down about that. But by having that list, I think it gives you some freedom to understand what you actually need as far as time and how much time you need each day. So that's all I wanted to add.
Very good. Guys, as a resource for many, highly recommend a let's see. Okay, let's see. How do you do that when people are messaging you all day with questions? And okay, that's a good question. Hit that in just a second. Eat That Frog is a book by Brian Tracy. And the essential of it basically is the fact that he's saying in this is that it's based on a Mark Twain quote. Wait, excuse me, Mark Twain quote. Say that 3 times fast. Anyway, that he said there's many frogs that you can eat each day. Eat the biggest one first. Okay, and so the point of that being is that as we discern, and this is one of the things I think a lot of people lack. Okay, they lack discernment. So they'll be busy and they'll go for the easy task first, right? It generally tends to be the task that tends to be a little bit more difficult, or the thing maybe you sometimes not even look most forward to. Sometimes you look forward to it, but sometimes it takes a lot of work, or maybe it has to be split up into parts in order to start to accomplish it, okay? And if you go after that first task, the hardest task first, and get in that habit of the hardest task first. So maybe it's like, the thing you don't like the most is inviting. Okay, I'm going to invite to this next free challenge that's going to start on the 13th of the month, coming up here next month. Man, I should start considering what it means to do that first as part of my power hour versus, hey, I'm a lot more comfortable maybe connecting with a few existing customers, just checking up on them, see how they're doing, or I'm going to check my Facebook messages or that kind of stuff. Do the harder thing first. Eat That Frog is a great, great book. Highly recommend if you're not on audible.com. Audible.com is a great way that you can listen to that book. There's an audio version of that available. And if you sign up for Audible, they give you a free book for your first month. If you try it, you can try it and then you can try it for 30 days. You get your first book for free. And then you can either cancel if you didn't keep the book, which they let you do, or you can continue. And I think the subscription runs about $15 a month. And it's about, you can get about a book per month at that rate, which is pretty cool. So just throwing that out for you. Eat That Frog is a great, great asset to potentially look at. Also, and I was trying to find it. For some reason, I cannot find the activity tracker in the back office, kids. Does anybody have a specific on that? Some starter benchmarks. There's a leadership ladder.
I know that the site's been down a little bit today.
Yeah.
So around too, we can always post it in the coach club.
Yeah, we'll make sure to do that. So business activity tracker, guys, is another way if you're looking for specific behaviors to make your power hour. Now, power hour, that's what Stacey talked about. Jason talked a little bit about it too. But it's having that consistency for about an hour each day. Maybe it's a half hour once, in the morning, half hour in the evening. You can do that. Back to Reese's question. How do you do that when people are messaging you all day long with questions, needing motivation or whatnot?
Turn off your notifications.
Bing. Stacey, how about you?
Yep. I'll silence my Boxer, or I'll turn off my notifications completely. Facebook has done something weird, like it still vibrates. So I need to go try to figure out why they've done that to me again. But
okay.
I think
you got to get out of it.
Yeah. And here's the thing.
It's easy to feel a little guilty about it though, right? I mean, I think that's kind of what's underlying the question here. And I know that I felt for a long time, if I didn't get back to people in like 2 minutes, something terrible would happen, or I wasn't being a good coach or whatever, right?
Or they'd go with someone else.
Right. And what I have realized slowly but surely is that even doctors have office hours, right?
Yeah.
And if we're not being present with our family or being present with whatever we need to do at that time, we're really robbing ourselves, and we're not doing them any favors either, because really if we just squeak out a text through Facebook to somebody who's really asking for help about something important while we're in a meeting or while we're with somebody else, they're not getting our full attention either. So I'd say that's really the power of the power hour, right? Is you have this time box to get in there and really crank through any of those little notifications or any of those messages and get back to those people. So it's not like they're going to be stranded. It's just being respectful and let them know too. There's nothing wrong with letting them know that between this time and that time, you might be a little tough to get a hold of, but you'll get back to them right after that. Hopefully that'll help.
And I think especially one of those things you have to kind of understand, guys, is that we are not the end, or like our immediate response generally doesn't make or break that sale / help or whatever. Okay. If we can allow it and so this is a bigger issue of what I've talked with several people about, an issue called boundaries. Okay. And all of us have issues with that sometimes. So if we set an appropriate boundary and we say, this is where I allow this kind of type of stuff to, like a distraction, okay, or communication to come through, then I set a boundary. But then if I let that happen right in the middle of dinner and I turn to it and I take care of it, I'll be that much more apt to do that again the next time, and the people around me are going to. So it just continues to cycle out badly. So setting that appropriate boundary, and that's what the Power Hour also does. So I think that's a great thing. Okay, good. I hope these are helpful tools for you. Like we said, we'll post. Hold on, I'm going to mute.
What, Jason?
That you? Sorry.
That was me, Dan.
Nice, thank you. We're going to post that activity tracker in the group in the file section just to make sure everybody's got that. Stacey, if you wouldn't mind checking into that, that'd be amazing. And then next week, just so we're all clear, we're going to be digging deeper, the art of asking great questions. When we ask great questions, ladies and gentlemen, we avoid a lot of objections. So we're going to teach you how to ask better questions in getting people help and moving forward from that point, okay? And so you don't want to miss that call. It's going to be next week, Monday, March 30th, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we'd love to have you there again. We'll record it, and we'll make sure we post it in the group. And then the last thing I want to tell you is to start laying that groundwork, and I was supposed to capture this, but I forgot to. Lay the groundwork, like I said earlier. April 13th is going to be our Rex Kwon Do Challenge, which is going to be sort of cardio kick style, combat-y style program for 5-day free challenge. In the middle of that, we're going to be having a webinar offering people the idea of the challenge pack, which will help, I think, everybody be able to invite to the next set of paid challenges that we're going to be looking at the end of April. So, and getting everybody ready for summer. It's going to be perfect timing. It's going to be about, between 4 and 6 weeks towards the actual beginning of June, which I think people will really start to be motivated to make sure they're ready for summer. So thank you so much, guys, for your time tonight. We'll get this posted up there because we are out to help you. And thanks for your listening tonight. And thanks again, Stacey and Jason, for your part tonight. You there still?
Yeah, thanks. It's great.
Good stuff. And we'll see you guys in the group, okay?
See ya.
All right.